Hey there, my name is Jessa from the Jessa channel on YouTube, Twitch, and thejessachannel.com. And for this PAX Online 2020 panel, I brought together some of my grandma gaming friends, and we had a virtual tea party that is complete with hats and gloves. We talked about all manner of gaming from JRPGs to Borderlands to Skyrim, and we had a great time. Not the least because one of us was drinking Skyrim skooma tea from her teacup. We want to thank PAX Online for having us for this panel, and I hope you enjoy. It is time to do some introductions. Britta, who's right above me, Britta.
Hello, everyone. My channel is called Food for Dogs. And before you ask, yes, I do have a video up explaining the origin of that name. I call my channel Cozy. That means I like it friendly and relaxed, and I intend to keep it that way. I started out on YouTube doing unboxings. I unbox limited editions of mainly JRPGs because that's my favorite genre. I like to talk during the unboxings to give a bit of a background history, talk about the development, the artwork and the artists, the music and the composer, just the complete package, really, to give people some context and hopefully some interesting information. I also have several plushy assistants who help me out during my videos. This is Mishi here. Hello. Also do some gameplay videos occasionally. I don't really get around to doing that enough, but I certainly enjoy doing them, and I tend to give my thoughts on the game during those videos. Recently, I've branched out a little bit more, and I did a series of videos called Tech of My Childhood. That was really a bit of a nostalgia trip for myself, but I found there was lots of interest in that as well, so that was great. And that's really my channel in a nutshell. Cozy. It's food for dogs. Thank you very much.
All right, so next up, I'm going to introduce Mary, who's up that way. Mary, you're up next.
Hi, I'm Mary, go by the gaming name of Lady Empire. I've been gaming for 43 years, since about 1977. My first game was Pong, literally the ding, ding, ding. And since then, all of the games in between, the arcade games, everything. Then I had a family, 2 sons, didn't play as much. And when they got older, got into Sims, Minecraft, console games, and eventually PC gaming. And I'm kind of all over the place. I'll play everything from Minecraft to Borderlands and PUBG with my kids. I have a Twitch channel, of course. I also have a YouTube channel, which I haven't been very active in for many reasons. And currently I've been mostly streaming to fundraise for St. Jude. But I'm so happy to be here, Jessa.
Thank you, Mary. Now, Mary, how did you and I meet?
We met because we did a panel at PAX West in Seattle with Miss Shirley.
Yay!
And Shirley and I did one previously before that, so this would be my third PAX panel.
This is your third PAX? What was your first one?
With Miss Shirley. Her and I did one together once.
And then you and I did. Oh yeah. This is your third. Okay. Yeah. And then we did one, the 3 of us. Yeah. And then we're doing another one this year, except it's online.
Yes. Yeah. I know.
Because this is a PAX panel. Okay. And then, she's Skyrim's favorite grandma. You guys, welcome to the Jessa channel, Shirley Curry. Hello, Shirley.
Thank you, Jessa. Thank you. Hi to everybody, Mary and Britta and Jessa. And everybody out there in chat. I'm thrilled that everybody's here.
Yes.
My name is Shirley Curry. My channel is named Shirley Curry. And it's basically Skyrim that I play. I have tried many other games, 1 or 2 videos here and there that you'd find in my playlists, but I just play Skyrim all the time. But I started gaming back in the mid-90s when my son helped me on a computer to learn what to do on it and gave me a game and taught me how to play. Before that, I didn't know anything about computers or gaming or anything. And he started me with Civilization 2. I played that for several years, day and night. I would hardly eat or sleep. And so eventually he showed me Skyrim. And so I started playing that, and that's when I really became addicted.
First of all, before we go ahead, why don't you show me your teacups? Show me your teacups. Oh, look at that. You actually have a little pot, Mary.
Yes. It's a little Alice.
Gosh, that's so cute. And Shirley, do you have those gloves I sent you? Those lace gloves?
Yes, I do.
They're beautiful.
Got little flowers on them.
Let's not talk about the usual how did you get into gaming question. Let's focus on what our first memorable gaming experience was. So what is that earliest game that you played that really made an impact on you? The one that made you go, I love gaming. This is so fun. I can't believe this. This is so awesome. And the game that really sticks with you to this day.
I'll answer it. I started with that Civilization 2 and then became addicted to Skyrim. But even now, I worked my way through all the Civilization games, and now I still play Civ 5 when I need to just sit and relax and veg out.
Mine would probably be Sims. I probably got into that when Sims 2 came out. I missed Sims 1, but Sims 2, I was totally addicted. I mean, I couldn't wait to play. I had a little notebook with little stories about what was happening in each family. And they just the stories just grew and made themselves. But that's probably the one. And I've since then bought every Sims 4, Sims 3. But I used to I didn't do video then, but I was on a forum and I did stories with pictures with the forum members. And that was a lot of fun. Got into the modding and making shirts and clothes and different things. So that was probably the one that really took off. Sim house, like you'd put all the Sims in, let them run on auto and just see what they did. And then I did a Sim Survivor and a Sim Cruise and all these different little play along stories, but unfortunately they're none on video.
Yeah. Well, be glad, because some of my early stuff is on video still, can still be found out there in the world, because I was part of the Sims community before I was a YouTuber. And, every once in a while somebody threatens to pull all that stuff up and embarrass me. So kind of be glad. And Britta, how about you?
Yeah.
What's your first?
Well, I have a confession to make. I have never played The Sims and I have never played Civilization, but I have both of them now in my backlog, and I very much hope I'll find the time to dive into them because they both look pretty cool. My earliest memory of getting completely addicted was a tiny indie game called Rainbow Moon. It was available on the PlayStation 3, and it was very early after I just started gaming and was still looking around, and I thought, RPGs might be my kind of thing. And I just got stuck into Rainbow Moon. It's what's called a tactical RPG. So you work on a basic grid layout for your combat, a bit like a chessboard, and you make your moves, and it's turn-based. And I just loved it. The game is sort of very colorful and cartoony, and that appealed to me as well. And the main thing is it was really, really easy to learn. It's a very simple to get into tactics RPG. To this day, if somebody asks me, can I recommend something for someone who's never played a tactics RPG and wants to learn the basics, I recommend Rainbow Moon, because that's how I learned it. And tactics RPGs have become my favorite genre within the RPG genre. So I played it for, I think, well over 200 hours I poured in. I just couldn't let go of the game. I did in the end, but I played it on and off over about 1.5 years until I finally completely completed it. And yeah, there was nothing left to do. That's my Rainbow Moon.
No, my first game experience was a game based on a book by Raymond E. Feist, and this is like way back when it was. I have to just actually go ahead and Google it to video game. Let's see, because it was a game that was on. It was a DOS game way back when, Windows 3.1, and you had to, like, in order to start the game, Betrayal at Krondor came out in 1993, and I'm actually going to put this on screen so you guys can see this game that I'm talking about. Oh, I just realized my gloves don't allow me to use my Stream Deck. I can't use my Stream Deck with my gloves on. But yeah, you guys should be looking at the desktop now, and that's Betrayal at Krondor. And I actually bought this game. I bought this game and I went home and I didn't finish it. It began my still very long, continuous era of not finishing stuff, not finishing games. I still, to this day, have the hardest. I love the idea of RPGs. Have any of you ladies have this problem? Unable to like these long games, you can't finish them.
Yes. Skyrim is one of mine.
Yeah.
I've never played it all the way through, but I've played 150 hours, way less than Shirley. But a lot of games I do finish, but there are quite a few I have not.
Shirley, have you finished the main quest in Skyrim?
I don't think so. I don't think I've finished anything in Skyrim. I'm too busy making my own story.
Like, gaming is not only just about, we're grandmas, yeah, okay, that's great. Old news, we're grandmas. Who cares? But what about like storytelling and like, do you guys like make up stories in your head when you're playing your games? Or Shirley, I know you've got some stories going on with Skyrim. What have you got going?
Oh my goodness. I just started a new story called Leanna, A Shaman's Tale, because I've never, ever played a magic character before. I was kind of afraid to. And, but some modders that's making a character of me for Skyrim SE sent me the house that they made for that character to live in. So they're allowing me to live in it with my character and show everybody what's in it and what it looks like and everything. So this is being really fun.
I have seen your Skyrim work. My very first memory of you, Shirley, is I went to your channel. You were on fire on Reddit, and everybody was like, "You guys got to talk about this grandma gamer. You've got to connect with her. She's so great." And I went over to check you out because you were the big thing. The very first video I watched of you, you said, "Good morning, grandkids. I am in Bleak Falls Barrow, and oh look, there are some Draugr here. Oh, okay, let me see. Where did I put my weapon? Let me see." And then your character, Khajiit, took out this like two-handed battle axe, like, funk. Oh, there it is. You were just like, "Oh, there it is. Okay. All right, kids. Now we're going to go over and we're just going to smack this Draugr right here. Woo! I killed him. Oh, my goodness, I killed him. Oh, right at the knees, kids. Did you see that?" I was like...
You talk about bringing up old videos and embarrassing you.
I know it's terrible, but I don't care. You can go and bring up. You should go. You've watched my early Skyrim stuff. You can go back with Mala, my character Mala, where I voice acted, and people. That was back when voice acting was not a thing on YouTube. So people were like, "Are you crazy?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, but that's beside the point. I'm trying to voice this character." Like people didn't understand this at all. Yeah, and so so that was a question about like our first game. But now I'm curious about, I know Britta was saying, and Britta and I had, now just fun fact, Britta and I just met this week. And Britta just met all of us this week. And I wanted a fourth for our, another party for our tea party. So I went to Reddit and I said, "Hey guys, I need a grandma gamer. Who you got?" And Reddit said, "You gotta talk to Britta. You gotta talk to Food for Dogs." So I went over and I saw her channel and she was so cute and so sweet. But then she has a picture up of her, I think on Twitter, with a pink hat on. And I was like, "You're hired." So I went over to her and I said, "Hey, want to be friendsies?" And so she is the newest part of our gang of gamers.
Okay, it was really just a very brief comment about what especially Shirley was talking about, being inside an RPG and constructing your own character and your own story for that character. And because I play mainly JRPGs, that's not really possible like that, because JRPGs are usually quite narratively driven. You have to follow along a storyline. So you don't quite have that freedom. So what I tend to do in my head is I enter into one of my favorite characters and, try and think what I might be doing in this situation, or how I would execute that combo, what I might want to wear, etc. And because my games often tie in with anime series, I can watch the anime and that sort of deepens the experience. So that's really how I get into my roles. But the ultimate role for me is living inside a Studio Ghibli movie. And of course, we can do that as gamers now because we have the fantastic Ni no Kuni, which is available on all platforms.
Did you say Ni no Kuni?
Yes,
Okay.
Ni no Kuni. Yeah, and that's the game where you literally are inside a Studio Ghibli movie. That's what it feels like. It's just fantastic.
So, for those of us who don't play JRPGs, which is everyone here in the panel, I mean, describe some of these terms. I purposely wanted you to represent that because the rest of us are just CRPG gamers, or we're Western gameplay gamers, and you really focus on Japanese gaming, Japanese anime. Tell us more about that. Like, what does Ni no Kuni mean, and who is Studio Ghibli? And you can show us some stuff too. You can also show your games, and also you can show your mascot too.
Yes, well, yeah, I've already introduced Mishi. Another very well-known mascot she's another assistant, is Morgana from a series called, yes, she is a very, very smart cat. In fact, she's far too smart for her own good. She gives me a lot of trouble. She comes from a game series called Persona, a very famous one. You might have heard of it. It's well worth playing. Whether you're into JRPGs or not, it is an experience. And that's what I always look for in games, an experience, more than just a game I play and then put aside, Yes, so sorry, what that was
I hear what you're saying, and that's actually something that I hadn't had on our outline to talk about, but I want to flow right into more of that. Yeah. What is gaming to you guys? And it sounds like Britta is saying that gaming is an experience. I mean, it's in immersing yourself in a story. It's not like there are gamers in our huge gaming community. There are gamers who are there just for achievements, or just for speed runs, or just for min-maxing. You know, things that are all about the mechanics of the game. And there's nothing wrong with that. However, that's not really how I approach the games that I play. So, Mary, how do you approach the games that you play?
I go a different direction, even though like I started with, Sims and things that were single player. I actually tend to prefer co-op games. I like playing with friends and community and other people. And my favorite series is like Borderlands. When that came out, you can have up to 4 players. And before that, it was Left 4 Dead, 4 players. And you work as a team and you talk to each other. And that's actually become my favorite, is to play these games with other people. And it's gotten so bad that when I play games solo, it's kind of boring. And that's one reason why I like to stream, because then there's people to talk to. I mean, it's not boring. The game is great. You get immersed in it. But I still, if I had a choice, I prefer to play co-op with other people.
Yeah. And so what are you playing? Like what's your jam right now? Borderlands, right?
Borderlands right now. I'm working through the 3rd DLC. We just started that the other night, and kind of a little bit behind. We used to be very caught up. As soon as they come out, we'd hit it and we'd play it every day. But the person I play with a lot works and has school, and so I tend to end up playing with people that are like half my age, because there's not a lot of which is okay. But this person I've known like 15 years, and we've played every single Borderlands together. So it's really fun. So we're working our way through the 3rd DLC, because the 4th one I think will be out maybe in another month or so, and then we'll be ready.
So, Shirley, like how do you approach games? Like, in other words, what's your reason for playing besides the obvious, it's fun? In other words, do you like the storytelling part of it, or do you play every game where you just basically make up a story in your head, or do you sometimes just play just to clear out your brain? Do you understand the question I'm asking?
It's just to play those games. But when I'm playing in Skyrim, stories just come into my head. So when I love to make new characters. So when an idea for a story comes into my head, first I make a character in the screen. And then I might sit around for days and at night in bed thinking about that story, and I jot down notes about what I might want to do in it and stuff like that, until finally it just all comes together in my head and there's a story. So then I put those notes away and just start telling a story and playing it. It's like, I love it because it's like being real. I mean, when I'm in Skyrim, it's real to me. I live there. That's my second home. And it's like being in a movie and you're one of the characters in the movie.
That's the same thing for me, which is one reason why I don't play Fallout. Because I don't want to live there.
Ugly.
It's ugly. It's awful. It's depressing. It's I don't know. I do not want to diss anyone who is in chat right now going, oh, did they just say that? Oh my God. That is so mean.
Sorry.
I'm leaving right now. For those of you guys who love Fallout, and I know Angie's in chat and she loves Fallout, I know that. So, there's a lot that people get from that. But for myself, I want to immerse myself in a place I want to live and want to be, and where there's no zombies going to chomp on my body like in Resident Evil or something. So, that whole, sometimes making the story process is actually more fun than playing the game sometimes. And that whole planning out of that story. And so I understand what you're saying about that. And, the gaming community, we have a bad rap for being immature. And there being a lot of young people here, you know, a lot of immature people who is none of us on this panel. We're all very mature. But
see the gray hair?
Yeah, exactly. We all are sporting my gray hair is a little bit harder to see, but it is in there behind these flowers and whatnot. I have it. And I'm not going to color my hair ever. So one of the things that I wonder is gaming a guilty pleasure for you all? In other words, like if someone says, what do you do for fun? Do you like to quilt? Do you like to knit? How about baking? What do you old folks like to do with your time? And you're just sitting there like, you know what? I just killed over 103 people in Borderlands 3. Mm-hmm. I can take your head off with just a look. Get away from me, kid, before you're sorry. Get off my lawn, you runt. So, but seriously, that brings, you know, have you ever been judged? Like, first of all, do you admit to your friends, family, people you meet at a dinner party that you're a gamer? If you do admit it, what are their reactions?
Complete incomprehension.
Mine sort of grew into it, I think. Like my parents and of course my kids are all in, you know, kids and grandkids are fine. And then the parents just, I think my dad's even bragged about it some, but I'm more open now than I probably didn't really tell anybody much. And I never really told my age way back, but that's changed now. I wear it proudly.
Yeah. And you know, one of the things that Shirley, when you first came on the scene, tell us the story about the person on Reddit who didn't believe you were actually you.
Every once in a while, still somebody asks me that. And but this one guy, he said, I work in the industry and I know that this is a kid using a voice changer. Now, I thought he said, I know. I kept him set aside in my PC so that when my first interview came out, that's what I was waiting for. And I gave him the link to that. And I said, do you feel stupid now?
I love Miss Shirley speaks her mind.
Miss Shirley speaks her mind. I love that chat is flowing. Let's get those hearts, you guys. That's how we do it. When you get old enough and mature enough, you can just like save up all that, and then just like, pow.
Yep. You don't have to worry.
Right.
Yes. I've had a bit of a similar experience to Shirley's. I've had literally dozens of people turn up on my channel proclaiming that I'm a complete fake and that it is really my grandson who is playing the games, and I'm showing off his collection and pretending. And just for the record, I actually don't have a grandson or a granddaughter. But yeah, they do turn up and they're completely and utterly convinced. So I don't even bother talking to them. It's a waste of time. It's quite funny, really, what people will believe, in their heads, just because they don't want to accept what's right in front of them, They build up this sort of fantasy that's quite extraordinary, really. But yeah, so I think that's definitely related to the age, because you can't possibly be playing games if you are this old,
Yeah, and what is that? I mean, what is that about? Like, games have this like enjoyment factor, and when you get up to this point, you just have to stop. Like, I feel like there is this gatekeeping or elitism, and that happens in all kinds of hobbies. That's just human nature. But still, it just seems like
it's extreme with gaming.
It really does seem more intense with gaming than anything else. Like, it's almost like, and Shirley, I think you can talk about this, Mary as well too. You guys, what is it about like people thinking that we're stupid just because we're older? Like, you'd think it'd be the opposite.
No.
Where like we're older.
I've actually had less of that. It's interesting, but I haven't encountered that as much. And I don't know if it's because I go to a lot of conventions and I've met a lot of people. I don't know if it's because I've I've been live streaming, but I haven't encountered it as much, thankfully.
When I first started recording, what I would get a lot is, "You're too old to be gaming, and why aren't you sitting in a rocking chair knitting?" I said, "Because I don't like to knit."
Yeah, it's you know, and I'm just curious that, you know, chat as well too. Like, what do you guys think the reason is with that? Like, I think it's basically this kind of hyper masculinity, because it tends to be young boys who are doing that.
I have one idea, Jessa.
But
What's
it's
that,
hard
Shirley?
to figure out.
Britta was saying something.
No, I was just saying it's sometimes hard to figure out, of course, who is making comments or talking to you because of the anonymity of the internet and social media. I had a funny comment only a day or two ago, and that sort of encapsulated the problem for me. Somebody left a comment saying, "You are old, get off the internet." And I thought that was really interesting, because I've been on the internet since 1995, and I started working on the internet as a web designer, and I went on from there and did a variety of jobs, including server admin, that sort of thing. So I've clocked up 25 years on the internet, my anniversary. And I sort of feel like, in a very, very small way, as a tiny cog, I've contributed to what the internet and the web is today. Because back then we saw ourselves sort of as pioneers. When people asked me, "What do you do? What's your work?" And I said, "Well, I'm a web designer. I design websites." Is that a thing? Yeah, you know, we've come a long way, and I sort of feel like I've done my bit, and we're here today because of all the work that all those fantastic people did back then. So somebody presumably that young coming along and saying, "You're old, get off the internet," that's just youth and ignorance speaking. You know, I can't really see any other way. So, but whether that helps us in addressing the problem, I don't know.
I think one of the things that started that whole idea is the developers themselves, the people who sell their products, because all young people started to play. Everything was advertised for young people. You didn't see pictures on any of the game boxes of grandpa and grandson playing together, or just an older person playing a game. It was all kids. And that's what kids grew up getting used to. So they just assume that old people can't play.
And, you know, in chat, what they're saying is that, you know, it's really an immaturity thing. And, you know, Jesse here says, "Thankfully, we're entering an era of gaming where gaming has been a casual thing for so many people. However, sadly, with this new era has come a lot of ugliness from the internet." And that's something that all of us, each of us have channels, and each of us have experienced ugliness. And for me, in particular, I get ugliness for being slightly older, and also for being Black, which gives me a heck of a lot of trouble as far as getting nastiness from the internet, because it's such an easy target to go for. But we are paving the way. I mean, we're paving the way here, Britta.
We're trailblazers.
We're trailblazers, exactly.
Yeah.
Because,
and that's what I've been told by a lot of the younger players that I encountered lately. They're like, "You're great. We look up to you. You're a trailblazer in what you're doing," and that makes me feel better. Like, yes, because they're going to be our age one day. And they're still playing.
Exactly. That's the thing, is that you guys who are all watching this, who are younger than us, one day you're going to be old farts like we are, or at least deeply middle-aged.
Yes. And that is the comment I see most often on my channel, I'd have to say. The vast majority from people coming and saying, oh my goodness, it is so good to just see you enjoying games. And the games that I enjoy too, I'm still in my 20s, or I'm in my 30s, and the people around me, my family, my work colleagues, they tell me I'm childish to still be playing games, and they start to feel guilty about it and feel like they should be putting games aside.
Exactly.
And it's sort of, in a way, channels like ours are a validation for saying it's absolutely okay to play games, whatever your age. And I think that message is maybe finally getting out there.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody has a hobby.
Exactly. It's a hobby. It's also, for many of us, it's mental and emotional health.
Yes.
Yeah.
How are you guys using gaming to cope? Are there any particular, like, for example, just to clarify, kind of flesh out that question.
Yeah.
That, we all maybe are sitting around playing our games in our pajamas late at night, which is better, that keeps the demons away perhaps. But are you finding yourself more attracted to games where, like, I find people who are on Reddit and the gaming suggestions subreddit are asking questions like, hey, I want to find a game that's about post-apocalyptic, or a game that's kind of like they want to experience their fears through gaming. Or other of us are using it as an escape and want to go the exact opposite direction.
Yeah.
But basically, Animal Crossing. Can I get
Animal Crossing?
Can I get a heart in chat for Animal Crossing, you guys?
Yeah. That's been my pandemic game.
Yeah. So what's your?
It's easy breezy, fun. Yeah.
And Shirley, what's your pandemic play? Like, what are you doing for your pandemic play?
Well, if I ever get out of Skyrim, like in the evening before I go to bed, I turn on my Civilization 5 game and just relax, and I don't have to think playing that. I don't even have to use my keyboard. Just move my mouse around a little bit.
Exactly. Have you nuked anybody, Shirley?
Oh, I used to do that way back in the beginning of playing. Now all I do is build towns and get them build up big cities and do them different ways. I build out spokes to cities, or I build roads all the way around the perimeter of a continent and build cities. I just do them different ways. When it gets into levels that I don't want to go into, then I quit and start again.
That's kind of
someone declares war.
I used to play the wars a lot.
So you guys, Shirley's been dropping nukes. You guys, you heard that right here on the Jessa channel. Shirley Scurry. I want that in the news tomorrow. I want that, like, in the headlines. Shirley Scurry reveals that she drops nukes.
I haven't done that for years.
This question I really am looking forward to hearing the answers to, because I got my answer set. What is your dream game? If it doesn't exist, just go wild with us. Take a few minutes to just tell us about what your absolute perfect game, like everything combined, and share it with us.
I would like a game that has more co-op. Like, say you were to take, I haven't played Fallout, but something like that, or some other game where you're going through missions, or even Skyrim, where you could play with 2, 3, 4 other people. Not like the MMO where you have a ton of people, but just the co-op base, more of that, where you could play with your friends in very small groups. I would like to see more of that.
But what would the game be? Like, what would you be doing?
Well, probably it would be mission based. You're going from here to here, doing goals and things. I actually like those kind of games where you have something you're supposed to do. I mean, sandbox is fun, but I like, completing things, leveling up, that kind of.
So you want now? Would your perfect game have like combat in it? And if so, what type of combat would it be?
It probably would have minimal combat, puzzles, cooperation type. Sometimes too much fighting is too much fighting, but
all right, Britta or Shirley, your perfect game.
You want to go first, Shirley, or want me to?
Well, my perfect game would be if Elder Scrolls 6 would ever come out. and I hope that it's a lot like Skyrim, only better, and that the people move more like human beings.
Can I get an amen in chat, please? Just give me an amen or like a heart or something, you guys. Elder Scrolls 6, come on. I want an amen, please. Yeah. And Shirley, have you prepared yourself for walking down the street? You know, you get into Elder Scrolls 6, you sit down, Shirley, you're in your jammies, you're all comfy to play this brand new game, and you make a Khajiit because Khajiits.
Yes. It's my favorite.
It's your, yep, exactly. And then you're walking down the street of whatever place it's going to be in, right? And you see you.
I'm going to get me for a follower.
You're going to get you for a follower? You're going to say,
yep.
But that's going to be creepy to hear your voice coming out, right? So let me get this straight. You're going to get you as a follower. It's going to open its mouth. She is going to open her mouth.
Yeah.
And it's going to sound like some other person. That's going to,
I don't know. I don't know, because they're still so far out from releasing that they might still ask me to. I have no idea.
Okay. Well, all of us, so you guys have heard it here. It's already been out for news for a while now, but Shirley is going to be an NPC in Elder Scrolls.
I'm going to be a follower in Skyrim SE.
Oh, Skyrim SE.
Special edition.
Okay. Now, but is that being done by Bethesda, or is that going to be, that's a mod?
Private modders. And and they should be ready soon, they keep saying.
Yeah. My perfect game is simple. It already exists. In fact, there are many perfect games as far as I'm concerned. All I want is a developer who has a really creative vision that they can realize. And I think many of them have done that. I've already talked about Ni no Kuni, and that is a wonderful game with a really colorful world that I can immerse myself in, and it's an experience that I can take with me for many years. And the same applies to games like The Journey. Many people, I think, would agree that is as much an experience as it is a game, and that's why people keep returning to it. You form an emotional bond with games like that, just like Shirley has her bond with Skyrim, I suppose. And finally, I suppose the ultimate series of JRPGs is Final Fantasy. And I love Final Fantasy. Most of the games are very close to my heart. And I won't even mention any in particular. I'm not picking any favorites, because that's when the volcano erupts and the discussion bursts out. I love most of them, one way or another. They're all fantastic. And I see a team that has poured so much, not just work, into making that game. They poured their hearts and souls into it. That comes through. I pick that up. I form a bond with that game that enriches my life. And that's the perfect game for me.
So Final Fantasy is your perfect game, really? And that's and you wouldn't improve upon it in any way, or would you add anything extra to it?
No, that's not how I see perfect, you see, because most of these games have technical flaws. They have drawbacks. There might be something that you think, oh, that's not really working that well. But to me, those are all details. They don't detract from the overall experience. once you accept that, I think if you don't go in with a niggling mindset, just looking for what's not right and, what can I criticize here, but rather, is this game speaking to me? Is it speaking to my heart? And then I'm happy, and I don't know what else I want beyond that. That's nothing in life is ever perfect. So I don't expect that kind of perfection. The perfection is what really touches me. That's what's important to me. So if you want perfect, you're chasing a chimera. I think that's just my personal opinion.
Oh, that's such a great word. If you want perfect, you're chasing a chimera. We're getting a lot of questions in chat right now, but also someone mentioned that, I'm on this panel too, and they want me to ask questions because I've kind of taken the role of the person who's sort of, asking the questions but not actually answering them. And so I'm gonna answer this one. Well, I have thought about this a lot. And I really have to say I am not as gracious about the word perfect as Britta is. I want perfection, dang it, and I'm going to pay. I pay for it, I better get it. My favorite game is a game that starts out similar to The Sims 2. I feel like that's the pinnacle of the series. It would basically be a game where, well, actually, to be honest, my perfect game is the holodeck on Star Trek, where you can just go in and be in the world. But until someone creates a holodeck, this will have to do. But I basically want The Sims 2 modernized, where it's more open world, where you could go, in other words, similar to how The Sims 3 was, but without all the other stuff I didn't like. But The Sims 3 particularly, the Sims themselves didn't look, they were pretty awful looking. And so it would be basically I want like a story creator, novel creator type of thing. That is what life simulation is for me. It's basically it's more than a dollhouse. It's like a tool of imagination. So my perfect game would be a modernized Sims 2 that has a ton more stuff to do. And Paralives, the new Paralives game, is trying to meet these needs of the huge simming community. But basically it would be where I could go in and actually be a sim in the game, where I could actually click them and then click a button and I would actually be in their eyes looking around. That would be so cool. And also the perfect Sims game of mine would have extremely easy custom creation tools. So if I saw something I liked at IKEA, I could take a picture of that thing and it could somehow import it in, boom, and I could just stick it in my game. Could you imagine?
Wow.
That would be amazing. You could take a picture of your friend and the game could just scan that picture and then boom, make it into a sim. Wouldn't that be the coolest thing ever? And ultimately, yes, huh? Did I go off track a bit? Have I taken up a touch too much time?
Expect a phone call tomorrow from a very big developer.
Oh, good. Ooh, here we go. So Casa asks, what do you think of integrating video games into retirement?
Oh, great idea.
Yes.
Do it.
I think it's now actually recognized that it's a very good all-round mental and brain exercise. And we know that we need to keep the brain jogging, just like we keep our bodies fit into old age. So it's such an obvious idea, really. I don't understand why it's not been taken up yet. The only thing I can think is because of a sort of prejudice or stigma that surrounds video games. But when I started first looking into what was this gaming thing, because I had no idea, I'd never seen a video game before, that was one of the first things that occurred to me. Video games, most people think it's just really simple stuff that any kid can do. You just click here and you click there and that's it. And of course, we all know that's not the case.
Not always.
No, they can get jolly difficult and you have to learn a lot to play them. So that was one of the first things that attracted me to them, because I thought, well, I'm getting on into my 60s. This is probably a good hobby to have, just in a very pragmatic way. Well, I had no idea, of course, how addicted I would become, but that was certainly behind my decision to go into video games. And I still think it's a very good point, and that we really need to make until someone realizes that this would be really beneficial.
There is some studies going on about that, and I have done interviews with college students that have asked me for an interview because they're doing papers on how games can help older people maintain their mental capacity and abilities. And I did an interview with a man who writes articles in some online paper that is doing a study on that very thing also. So they are starting to become aware of that.
That's very good to hear.
Yeah.
So next question up, tabletop roleplay gaming. How many of you guys have done tabletop? This question comes from Gribel.
Probably not that much. I do table games like board games, but I haven't really done much. If you're talking like D&D, it's something D&D, I would like to try. I did do it the last PAX in San Antonio. We did a live kind of walkthrough D&D real life thing that was a lot of fun. So I haven't done a lot of that, but I'm open to trying it.
To me, I think Civilization games are kind of like board games because they're top-down games that you play on moving around on squares. So that's the nearest I've come to that.
And I think one of my dreams would be for all of us, the four of us, to be around a table playing a D&D with our little dice bags and our teacups and tea mugs and cookies in the middle. We'd have to keep moving the cookies over. Paper Spock, your question is up next. If you had a friend who didn't play video games but was interested in trying one, what would you suggest them to play?
That's a really tough one because, of course, you would know your friends, so you would know what kind of taste in stories or movies or books, and I would go very much by that and try and pick something that comes close to their particular taste. You know, do they like science fiction, or maybe romance? You know, the so-called otome novels from Japan are getting really popular, or they might be into something completely different, like a fast-paced modern action game. So in that case, I would probably suggest what's called a full motion video game, FMV for short.
Yes, I love FMVs.
I love them. Poodlepaw and I play them quite a bit, and it's just such a wonderful experience doing it together, you know, with, you know, me holding the controller and him shouting, no, go there, no, choose that dialogue option, you know. It's great fun, and I think it's a great way of getting people into games because it's similar to a movie experience, but different. You know, you're making that first step towards a game. That's probably the way I would go.
I have actually been in a full motion video game that's called The Shape Shifting Detective, and they also did. Yes, I am in that game. Yep. So go and play it. Oh. And there you have it. I want to thank my friends Britta, Food for Dogs, Mary, Lady Empire, Shirley, Shirley Curry, and also PAX Online. And, of course, you. Thank you, as always, for watching.